Hey everyone, Jacques Hopkins here, creator of Piano in 21 Days, and in this video, I'm going to teach the song Make You Feel My Love by Adele. Now, I don't often teach directly individual songs, especially on the YouTube channel, because I usually like to say that I like to teach my students to fish rather than just give them a fish. When they go through my program, when they go through Piano in 21 Days, it's up to them to then break free and start learning songs that they want to learn, and not to have to keep coming back to me every time they want to learn a new song. But sometimes it is appropriate to show examples. And so that's exactly what this video is. I'll show you an example of, hey, what if I wanted to learn the song Make You Feel My Love by Adele using the Piano in 21 Days approach. And the song learning process is called the 5-step song learning process. You'll never guess why. It's because there's 5 steps. That's kind of a dad joke. I'm a dad. Forgive me for that. So let's go through those steps together. A few prerequisites here. I'm going to assume that you know all the main types of chords, how to play the main types of chords, and that you know a lot of the official Piano in 21 Days improvisation tools that we'll start throwing in. And this is just to demonstrate the 5 steps, assuming you know those things already, okay? So the first step in the 5-step song learning process is find the chords, all right? And the internet's amazing. There's so much out there. You can actually find the chords to the song that you want to learn pretty much for free in almost every case here. So go to the search engine of your choice. I'm going to go to Google here, and you're going to want to type in the name of the song you want to learn plus the word chords, okay? So I'm going to type in Make You Feel My Love chords, okay? The first result will almost always be a good one for you, and it's usually ultimateguitar.com. It's because it's a great site. It gives you great chords. It gives you great chord sheets. My only knock on ultimateguitar.com is when you visit from a mobile device, they're constantly trying to get you to buy their mobile app. To do what we need to do to find these chords, you don't need that. If it's prompting you to buy the app, I mean, feel free to buy it because I like to support those guys, but you don't have to. You can just X out of it and still access the chords from your mobile device, okay? So I've got the chords here, and there's a couple of steps into here. We want to familiarize ourselves with the chords before we jump into playing it, but we also want to make sure we're playing it in the right key that we want to play in it. So this looks like it's in a kind of funky key with a lot of black notes, and you're more than welcome to play it in this key. And if you're an acoustic piano that you can't actually transpose on, you may need to play it in this particular key, but most of my students I find are using a piano that's a digital piano or a keyboard. That's what I've got, and it's got some transpose functionality in it. So I am going to actually take the recommendation, which is capo 3rd fret. That means transpose 3. Capo is how you transpose on a guitar, and these are, at the end of the day, these are guitar chords. So they're recommending you play it in G. But once we get to the steps where we're playing along with Adele's version, that's actually in A sharp. So we need to play in the key of G, but have it sound like the key of A sharp. Okay, so how do we do that? If we're on Ultimate Guitar, they have this awesome transpose feature, and I can take all these chords, specifically the A sharp, and go -3 on them. So now we're in the key of G. These are a lot easier chords for most people to play on the piano. But now I've got to match it with my keyboard. Your keyboard, you got to figure out how you can transpose on yours. I know for mine, I have an Elisa's Recital. I press these buttons, and then I do this over here. But I need to go up 3 on my keyboard. I went -3 on Ultimate Guitar, so I need to go up 3 on my keyboard, okay? So I'm gonna do that now. And now when I play a G major chord, it should actually sound like an A sharp major chord. And when I play a D major chord, it should sound like 1, 2, 3. It should sound like an F major chord because we're transposed 3. Okay, so now that we got the transposing out of the way, by the way, you're not always going to have to do that, but this just looked like a key that I'm particularly not as familiar with, A sharp. I'd rather play it in G. I could have gone and played it in C major too, but I chose to play it in G based on the recommendation here on Ultimate Guitar. If I would have done it in the key of C, then I would have gone +2 on Ultimate Guitar and then -2 on my keyboard, all right? So now I want to make sure that I'm good with all the chords that are going to be appearing in this song. So can I play a G major? Yes. D major? Yes. F major? Yes. C major? Looks good. C minor? Yes. We have an A7, okay? So A7, this is how I choose to play A7. There's lots of ways you can play A7. This is a perfectly good approach. This would be a fine approach as well for playing A7. You could also play it like this, or you could even play it like, we can play it like this, but there's really 4 options to play an A7 on the piano. D7, I won't show all 4 options here, but there's one of them, that's a D7. And then we also have a B7, so let me do a B7 here. All right, that's a B7 too. So I've got all the chords down. So now we're on step 2, which is to listen to the kind of artist version of the song while we're looking at this chord chart and see if we can hear the rhythm and the chord, when the chords are changing and so on. So you can go to Spotify, YouTube, something like that, wherever you like to listen to music. I'm just gonna go to YouTube. I find that easy, and I'm going to type in Make You Feel My Love and find Adele's version. It looks like either of these top 2 results would work. So I'll just click on this top one, and then I'll hit play and then jump back over to my chord chart, and I'll watch the chord chart and listen to the song and see if you can hear when those chords are changing. So we're starting on our G, D, change, change. Let me pause it a second because this one's got a fairly long intro. If you're struggling to hear these chord changes at the beginning of this song, when you're a beginner at this, it's often easier to hear the chord changes when there's actual singing involved. And that's because when you get to the singing, the way these chord charts work is you have the lyrics, and approximately when the chord changes is right above the lyric, okay? So if you're not really hearing the chord changes without the lyrics, then wait until you get to the singing part and it'll get easier. Okay, we're on the C major right here, and then C minor, change, 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 change. She's about to start singing. G,
when the rain is blowing
D,
in your face,
F,
and the whole world is on
C,
your case,
change,
I could offer you a
change,
warm embrace
change,
to make you feel
change,
my love.
change, G,
When the evening shadows and the stars
D,
appear,
F,
and there is no one there to
C,
dry your tears,
C minor,
I could hold you for a
G,
million years,
A7,
make you
D7,
my love.
G, C,
I know you haven't made your
G,
mind up yet, but
B7,
I would
C,
never do you wrong.
G, C.
I've known it.
All right, so if this is you going through this process, then you definitely want to go through the whole thing at least one time for each step. But I'm going to cut each one a little short for the sake of this video. But that's step 2. We're listening to the artist's song. We're not playing anything yet. And we're looking at the chord chart to see if we can hear when those chords are changing. Step 3, we're going to start the song back from the beginning. And now we're going to play an actual basic version of the chord along with the artist's version of the song. And we're not going to bring out any special tools, improvisation tools just yet. The only one that I will let you bring out is if you want to do some inversions on chord changes. But we're not going to spice it up yet. That'll be step 4. Right now, just basic chords when they're changing, when they're on the chord chart, along with the artist here in step 3. All right, so let me go ahead and go back to the beginning of this song and then jump over to my chord chart and play a basic version of the chords along with this. So there's the G, D, F, C, C minor, G, A7, D7, G.
When the rain is blowing in your face, and the whole world is on your case, I could offer you a warm embrace to make shadows and the stars appear, and there is no one there to dry your tears. I could hold you for a million years to make you feel my love. I know you haven't made your mind up yet, but I will never do you wrong.
All right, I'll stop it there. That is step 3. Step 4 is to then bring out our improvisation tool bag and start using our improvisation tools along with what we were just doing. So we're still going to play along with Adele in this case, and we're still going to change chords, but within each chord, we're going to improvise and bring out some of our improvisation tools. This song is already very, very heavy on the piano. A lot of the songs we'll come across and want to be playing on the piano might not have any piano at all, but this one has a lot of piano already. So are we trying to play the exact notes that they're playing in this song? Well, no, that would take a lot more time. But if you're using these methods, this technique of using chords and improvisation, we can make it sound just as good and sound like the song, even though it's not the exact notes. It's pretty close, all right? So that's what we'll start doing here in step 4. I will go back to the beginning of Adele's version and start playing along and adding in improvisation tools, inversions, playing extra notes in the scale, arpeggios, toggle, and so on.
When the rain is blowing in your face and the whole world is on your case, I could offer you a warm embrace to make you feel my love. When the evening shadows and the stars appear, and there is no one there to dry your tears, I could hold you for a million years to make you feel my love. I know you haven't made your mind up yet, but I will never do you wrong. I've known it from the moment that we met, no doubt in my mind where you belong.
All right, I'll go ahead and stop step 4 right there. But remember, do each step all the way through at least one time. Maybe you want to do it 5 times, 10 times before you're comfortable, if that's what it takes to get comfortable, to then move on to the next step. But the goal here is to not always play along with Adele. The goal here is to play our piano, by yourself if we need to. And so step 5 is called break free. We break free from the artist's version and play it similarly to the way we were just playing with all our improvisation tools, but then without that crutch of the author. So if you're a singer at this point, you want to start singing along. If you want to bring in a singer, you want to bring in your daughter, your spouse, your grandmother, grandfather, and they're the singer, then this would be an appropriate time to do that as well. Or if you're like me and you like this, you think this chords and improvisation approach is good enough on its own to make really pretty music and it's going to still sound like Make You Feel My Love, then that's cool too. And that's the way I'll demonstrate it. I'm not going to sing or anything. This is step 5, using all the improvisation tools, using these chords without Adele singing along. So here we go, back to the top. So that is the 5-step song learning process for Make You Feel My Love by Adele. If you're more new and you don't know all these chords and you don't know all these improvisation techniques, then I've got a lot more training for you over at pianoin21days.com. Hope to see you over there. Thanks for watching.